Hi everyone! Today we will talk about Chapter 4 Business Models. This presentation was made by Section AI32 under the course BSIT. So, as stated earlier, we will talk about business models. The table of content for this presentation are as follows. First, the overview. Second, what are business models? Third, the business model canvas. Fourth, growth wheel. And finally, franchise as a business model. The link for the presentation can also be found if you want to visit it. So, a startup is a temporary organization in search of a scalable, repeatable, profitable business model. So, what is a startup? A startup is like the baby face of a company or a business. It's where the business begins, hence the word startup. So, it is a temporary organization because most of the time a startup fails. So, it is in search for a scalable, repeatable, and profitable business idea for the entrepreneurs who created the startup. So countless new business models are sprouting today. As old industries collapse, entirely new ones emerge. Upstarts are taking on the old guard, some of whom are desperately trying to redefine themselves. So how do you imagine your organization's business model might look like in 2, 5, or 10 years from now? Will you be among the dominant players? Will you face competitors brandishing formidable new business models? Will your business be the next big thing or will it fail just like others? We'll never know. So the learning objectives for this topic is first describe what is a business model, analyze existing and proposed businesses to determine what business models they are applying and what business models they plan to apply. And lastly, developed and analyzed alternative business models for new entrepreneurial ventures.
Overview and what are business models? The term business models refers to a company's plan for making a profit. It identifies the product or services the business plans to sell, its identified target market, and any anticipated expenses. Business models are important for both new and established businesses. Types of business models. A retailer model. A retailer is the last link of the supply chain. These businesses purchase goods from manufacturers or distributors and sell them to customers for a price that will both cover expenses and turn a profit. Retailers may specialize in a particular niche or carry a range of products. Many of the businesses you patronize today, day to day, are probably retailers, from grocery stores to pharmacies to florists. Manufacturer model. A manufacturer converts raw materials into products. Then they sell those products to distributors, retailers, or directly to consumers. Manufacturing business builds everything from furniture to pharmaceuticals. They can be companies of any size and in almost any industry. Fee for service model. A fee for service is just what it sounds like. A business charges for a set fee for a specific service. A business set up on this model can increase its earnings by doing work for additional clients or by raising its rates. Depending on what type of work the business does, it might charge an hourly rate, monthly retainer, or commission. It may also create a fee schedule with a set rate for different types of services. Hairstylists, accountants, and real estate agents all charge fees for their specialized services. They may work independently or be affiliated with a salon, office, or a brokerage that provides resources in exchange for a percentage of their earnings. Subscription model. A subscription business model can be applied to both traditional brick-and-mortar stores and e-commerce businesses alike. Essentially, this makes a recurring payment for ongoing access to a service or product. A company may directly ship its product in the mail, or you may pay a fee to use its services. Great examples that we commonly use are Adobe software and Microsoft 365. Bundling model. The bundling business model involves companies selling two or more products together as a single unit. often for a lower price than they would charge selling the product separately. This model allows companies to generate a greater volume of sales and perhaps market products or services that are more difficult to sell. However, profit margins often shrink since business models list products for less. Many companies offer different items as a single product or item like gift packages and volume meals in fast food restaurants. Product as a service model. Product as a service business charge customers to use physical products. They may charge a subscription fee, a per use or per mile fee, or a combination of both. Bike rental companies offer products as a service. Customers might pay an annual membership fee plus a per mile fee each time they ride, or they might have the option to rent a bike for a day. Under a leasing model. Under a leasing business model, a company buys a product from a seller. That company then allows another company to use the product they purchase for a recurring fee. Leasing agreements are usually most efficient with the big ticket items like manufacturing and medical equipment, but some companies lease smaller items too. Leasing is similar to the product as service business model, but less leases usually have longer terms, days or weeks compared to minutes or hours. Leasing companies are unlikely to charge a subscription or membership fee for access to their products. A business that rents machinery like backhoes, augers, and dozers to individuals for their home construction projects is using a leasing business model. Franchise business model. A franchise is an established business blueprint that a franchise purchases and produces. The franchise or original owner works with the franchise to help them with the financing, marketing, and other business operations to ensure the business functions as it should. In return, the franchisee pays the franchisor a percentage of the profits. Pizza Hut, Watsons, and Ace Hardware are all examples of the franchise model. Distribution model. A company operating as a distributor is responsible for taking manufactured goods to the market. To make a profit, distributors buy the product in bulk and sell it to retailers at a higher price. A chain of beauty salons that buys supplies in bulk and sells some of them to other salons is using a distribution business model, though they may have other revenue streams too. Freemium model. In a freemium model, customers can use parts of a product or service for free, but must pay for access to more advanced features. This model is commonly in a software as a service space. Spotify and YouTube, for instance, has a free and ad-supported tier, but subscribers can get to use the service ad-free. Advertising or affiliate marketing model. The advertising and affiliate marketing business models leverage a business's audience as an asset. With advertising, a business sells its audience's attention. Advertisers pay for a space, whether it's in the pages of a magazine or in the side of a vehicle, with rates usually determined by the size of the business audience. With affiliate marketing, a business earns a commission when a member of its audience buys a product or service it recommends. If you've ever heard of a podcaster encourage you to use a specific offer code when you buy a product they're promoting, affiliate marketing is probably part of the podcaster's business model. A fashion blogger who sells ads on their podcast or website is using an advertising model. If they post outfit of the day photos with links that viewers can click to get the look, they might also earn an affiliate marketing commission on those purchases. Razor blades model. To understand the razor blade model, you can simply look to your local drugstore. You will notice that replacement razor blades may cost more than razor blades themselves. Companies offer a cheaper razor with the understanding that you'll continue to purchase more expensive accessories, in this case, razor blades in the future. In addition, the traditional razor blades model, you also see companies use the reverse razor blades model, in which they offer customers a high margin product and then promote the sales of a lower margin product that accompany the initial product. This business model is most common among companies that sell physical products. Printers that require a specific type of ink or water pitchers that require a specific type of filter are examples of a razor business models.
So, business model canvas. A business model canvas is based on the premise that a startup is something quite different than an ongoing venture. A startup should not be viewed as a smaller version of a company because starting up a company requires very different skills than operating one does. So, when we talk about business model canvas, it is a visual representation of a business model. Highlighting all key strategic factors is part of a business model, and in other words, it is a general, holistic, and complete overview of the company's workings, customers, revenue streams, and many more. So, a startup that is still a startup after some time, maybe a couple of years for some kinds of startups, is actually a failed enterprise since it hasn't converted into an ongoing adventure. So, as starting up a business, after a couple of years, there is also a possibility that the enterprise may fail, since if it hasn't converted into an ongoing venture. But with the help of the business model canvas, it can give a quick start alternative to a business plan. It may help you think through the most important aspects of a startup, such as product or service, your target market, and the resources you'll need to launch in a brief chart format. So the business model canvas is made up of 9 parts that together end up describing the business model. So these parts are key partners, key activities, key resources, value propositions, customer relationships, channels, customer segments, cost structures, and revenue streams, as we can see from the table of this. Okay, so in other hand, model canvas is a strategic management along with these models, 9 parts, or especially if we discuss this later, these 9 parts from the table that helps that may be used for developing new business models and documenting existing ones. So it offers a visual charts with elements describing firms or products value proposition, infrastructure, customer, and finances, assisting businesses to align their activities by illustrating potential trade-offs.
Now, let us try to define what is key partners. The business cannot function on its own and will require from source or sources to be able to do its unique business activities. This is the function of key partners. In order to function, businesses need key partners who can provide the necessary resources and support. Key partners can be suppliers, distributors, or other companies that help the business to carry out its unique activities. Key partners are part of the business model canvas to ensure that the business is prepared what unique activities will this business carry out and from where it can get its resources from. The business model canvas is a tool that businesses can use to plan and organize their business activities. Key partners are an important part of the business model canvas because they help the business to identify and prepare for the unique activities that it will need to carry out in order to be successful. Key partners also help the business to identify and procure the resources that it will need in order to carry out its activities. Without the key partners, the business will not be able to carry out its key activities and the business will not be able to operate properly. The key partners are essential to the business and without them, the business will not be able to function properly. The key partners provide the resources, expertise, and support that the business needs to carry out its activities. They also help to promote and grow the business.
Who are our key partners? These are the partnerships that we have with businesses, the government, and non-consumer organizations, which are essential to the success of the business strategy. But how about our key suppliers? These are the third-party suppliers of components and company service providers. But who are they? So this can be the freight forwarders, transporters like um, this barge here, logistics providers, general contractors, warehousers, and now which key resources are we acquiring from key partners? It may be from physical, intellectual, human, and financial, and the company may choose to purchase, lease, or acquire from partners. Physical, intellectual, human, financial. Which key activities do key partners perform? They can be performing in operations in production, marketing, sales, finance, administration. Our motivations for partnerships. This can be a help to the optimization and to economic growth, and this can help reduce the risk and uncertainty. And lastly, this can help the acquisition of particular resources and activities.
Key activities. So, before I discuss the definition of key activities, let's take a look first the business model of key activities. So, the business model of key activities refers to the way in which a company generates revenue and profits by providing goods or services to the customers. The model describes how the company plans to operate in order to achieve its goals. It includes the company's values proposition, which is the unique benefit that it offers to the customers. The model also outlines the company's key resources and partners, as well as its cost structure. So, what is key activities definition? So, the key activities of a business represent what the company must do to make the business model work. These activities can be producing a product or providing a service, or a mix of both. Key activities change depending on the business model of the organization. For instance, research is one of the primary operation of a products focused business, a business that relies on contracts with other parties for revenue must give channel management top priority. The key activities of a business are the activities that are initial to the success of the business. These activities can include things like production, marketing, sales, customer service, and more. So without these key activities, a business would not be able to function properly.
There are questions to consider when evaluating your business through the key activities building block. First, based on your value propositions, what kind of activities are key to our business? Second, what kind of activities are key to our distribution channels? Third, what kind of activities are important if we want to maintain our customer relationship? Lastly, what kind of activities are fundamental to our revenue streams? Categories for key activities. Production. These activities, which involve the design, production, and delivery of a substantial number of the product, are typically a characteristic of a manufacturing enterprises. Problem solving. Organizations that identify problem solving as a primary activity usually seek out special solutions to each of these specific problems. Lastly, platform or network. Platform platform or network-related key activities are typically included in business models where the platform serves as a key resources. It is important that you consider the firm as a whole and assess related key components as well to understand how they will support your key activities.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Justin Emadim, and I'm here because I'm all about to tackle key resources. What is key resources? Every business model requires key resources. Your resources allow your enterprise to create and offer a value propositions, reach markets, maintain relationships with customer segments, and earn revenues. Different key resources are needed depending on the type of business model. A microchip manufacturer requires capital-intensive production facilities, whereas a Microsoft designer focuses more on human resources. Key resources can be physical, financial, intellectual, or human. Key resources can be owned or leased by a company or acquired from key partners. So, what key resources do our value propositions require? It requires plant and equipment, buildings, employees, intellectual property, computer software, expert knowledge, and political connections. And then, these are the types of key resources. The first type is the physical key resources. This category includes physical assets such as manufacturing facilities, buildings, vehicles, machines and systems, point-of-sale systems, and distribution networks. Retailers like Walmart and Amazon.com rely heavily on physical resources, which are often capital intensive. The former has an enormous global network of stores and related logistic infrastructure. The latter has an extensive IT, warehouse, and logistic infrastructure. Secondly, intellectual property. Intellectual property resources such as brands, proprietary knowledge, patents and copyrights, partnerships, and customer databases are increasingly important components of a strong business model. Intellectual property resources are difficult to develop, but when successfully created may offer substantial value. Consumer goods companies such as Nike and Sony rely heavily on brands as a key resource. Microsoft and SAP depend on software and related intellectual property developed over many years. Qualcomm, designer and supplier of chipsets for broadband mobile devices, built its business model around patent microchip design that earned the company substantial licensing fees. Thirdly, human. Every enterprise requires human, but people are particularly prominent in certain businesses models. For example, human resources are crucial in knowledge-extensive and creative industries. A pharmaceutical company such as Novartis, for example, relies heavily on human resources. It is a business model predicated on an army of experienced scientists and large skilled sales. And lastly, financial. Some business models call for financial resource and or financial guarantees, such as cash, lines of credit, or stock. Option pool for hiring key employees. Ericsson, the telecom manufacturer, provides an example of financial resource leverage within a business model. Our distribution channels. Distribution channels include, for instance, the distributor, retailers, wholesalers, and the internet. Using a direct distribution channel, the manufacturer sells to the consumer. Indirect routes involve a number of middlemen before the product gets to the buyer.
What key resources do our value propositions require? Plants and equipment, buildings, employees, intellectual property, computer, software, expert knowledge, political connections, or distribution channels. Distribution channels include, for instance, distributors, retailers, wholesalers, and the internet. Using a direct distribution channel, the manufacturer sells to the consumer directly. Indirect routes involves a number of middlemen before the product gets to the buyer. Customer relationships. Our business needs to be clear about the kind of relationships it wants to build with each customer segment. The kind of client relationships you establish have a significant impact on the general customer experience. Revenue streams. Different pricing strategies such as fixed list prices, haggling, bidding, market or volume and volume dependent pricing, or yield management may be used for each revenue stream. Types of resources like physical, intellectual, human, and financial. Physical resources. This category covers tangible assets such products, production facilities, structures, automobiles, machinery, equipment, systems, point of sale systems, and distribution networks. Intellectual property. Companies that manufacture consumer goods like Sony and Nike rely significantly on their brands as key resources. Software and related intellectual property that have been produced over many years are what Microsoft and SAP rely on. Human resources. Every firm needs human resources, but certain business models emphasize people more than others. For instance, human resources are essential in creative and knowledge-intensive enterprises. A pharmaceutical corporation like Novartis, for instance, places a significant emphasis on human resources because its entire business strategy is based on an arm of seasoned scientists and a sizable and knowledgeable sales team.
So, what is value proposition? Value proposition in marketing is a concise statement of the benefits that a company is delivering to customers who buy its product or services. It serves as a declaration of intent both inside the company and in the marketplace. A value proposition stands as a promise by a company to a customer or market segment. The proposition is an easy to understand reason why a customer should buy a product or service from that particular business. A value proposition should clearly explain how a product fills a need, communicate the specifics of its added benefit, and state the reason why it's better than similar products on the market. Value proposition was first appeared in McKinsey & Co. industry research paper in 1988, which defined it as a clear, simple statement of the benefits, both tangible and intangible, that the company will provide, along with the approximate price it will charge each customer segment for those benefits. Value propositions can follow different formats as long as they are on brand, unique and specific to the company in question. A successful value proposition should be persuasive and help turn a prospect into a paying customer. A company's value proposition tells a customer the number one reason why a product or service is best suited for that particular customer. A value proposition should be communicated to customers directly, either via the company's website or other marketing or advertising materials.
A value proposition is a statement of the unique benefits your product or service offers to the target customer. It must answer three questions. One is, what product service do you offer? For example, if you have a food business, what kind of food do you serve? Is there a buffet? Is there only rice? Just something like that. Next is, who is the target customer? Who will eat at your restaurant? Is it children or teenagers? Maybe an adults. Last is, What value does your product or service provide? This is what are the benefits of the products or service that you will provide to your customer.
Customer relationships. A company should specify the type of relationship it wishes to form with regard to each customer segment. Relationships can be personal or automated. Customer relationship may be driven by one or more of three motivations. Number one, customer acquisition, customer retention, and number three, increased sales or upselling. There are several categories of customer relationships which are not mutually exclusive. Number one is personal assistance. The human interaction, or a customer will communicate with a real company representative for help in the sales process and afterwards. Number two is dedicated personal assistance, continuing human interaction between a real company and representative and a specific customer, typically over a long period of time. Number three is self-service. Here the company maintains no direct relationships with customers but provides the means for customers to help themselves. Number four is automated services. This is a sophisticated form of customer self-service integrated with automated processes. Example are online banking and internet collaborative services. Communities. Particularly with the advent of social media sites, companies have sought to create online communities that allow users to exchange knowledge and solve common problems. And lastly, co-creation. Companies are extending the traditional customer-vendor relationship to co-create value with customers. Amazon, for example, encourages customers to write reviews and so create value for other book lovers.
Customer relationship question. First, what type of relationship does each of our customer segments expect us to establish and maintain with them? Second, which one we established? Third, how are they integrated with the rest of business model? Fourth, how costly are they? For examples, personal assistance, dedicated personal assistance, self-service, automated services, communities, and co-creation.
Customer segmentation is the process of dividing customers into groups based on the common characteristics so companies can market to each group effectively and appropriately. In business to business marketing, a company might segment customers according to a wide range of factors, including industry, number of employees, products previously purchased from the company, and location. The customer segmentation, also known as a consumer segmentation, can help make your business strategy more effectively.
Having a target market is important. It equates to knowing who are the important actors in a business, and it also helps us improve our services in terms of customer contentment. There are different types of market. Mass market, with the term mass, it deals with providing services for everyone or every person in the environment, regardless of which segment they belong to. Next is niche market. Niche market refers to a customer segment with extremely defined characteristics. Examples are pet shop, athletic footwear shop, and office supplies shop. Segmented market. Some business choose to provide products and service to customer segments, where market can be segmented based on their age, gender, profession, ethnicity, personality traits, hobbies, country, region, city, spending habits, and purchasing habits, and so on. Diversified. An organization which opts to serve diversified customer segments is basically picking customer segments with very different needs and wants. It is a business strategy where a company develops new products and services or enters new market. Multi-sided platform. When customer segments are related through dependency, it makes business sense to serve both ends of the equation. Amazon, eBay, and other online marketplaces are well-known examples of multi-sided platforms connecting buyers and sellers directly.
So what is channels? Channels are the critical element of the business model. They are how a company communicates with and reaches its customer segments. There are also the ways in which the customer communicates its offer to individual customer segments. In business model canvas, channels are located between value propositions and customer segments. With this layout, you can match a specific value to a particular customer segment via an appropriate channel. An effective channels will distribute a company's value proposition in ways that are fast, efficient, and cost effective. The purpose of channels is to provide the ways and means to communicate and deliver value to customers. Hence, there are two types of channels: the communication channels and distribution channels. So, communication channels, these are the means of getting the messages out to potential customers and influencers. From a marketing perspective, it means seeding potential customers in the market with exposure to ideas about the products and services. And from a selling perspective, it means directly engaging with customers through the most efficient and effective means. And the distribution channels, these are the means of getting the products and services to the customers. They can be physical or virtual, or a combination as required. They can be directly for the business or through intermediary.
So, there are channel questions that every entrepreneur should answer in order to find the best channels for his or her startup. First channel question is, through which channels do your customer segments want to be reached? Next is, how are we reaching them now? How are these channels integrated? Which ones work best? Which ones are most cost efficient? And lastly, how are we integrating them with customer routines? So, after you have answered these questions, you will have a better understanding of the best channels for your company. We just have to keep in mind that choosing the best channel to reach your potential customer is vital, as finding the right mix of channels to satisfy how customers want to be reached bring a value proposition to market. So you can choose between reaching your customers through your own channels, through partner channels, or through a mix of both. To choose which channel works best, one should know and understand their customers. So for example, if your startup business target customer are teenagers, social media will be a great channel to reach your customer.
Channel phases. There are 5 types of channel phases. First phase is awareness. Second phase, evaluation. Third phase, purchase. Fourth phase, delivery. And the last phase is after sales. Awareness. It is about how the company informs its customers about the value proposition. This phase is where the advertising and marketing strategy, for example, from YouTube ads, newspapers, televisions, and flyers. Next phase is evaluation. The customer will evaluate, read about, or use the product and form an opinion about it. It involves collecting and analyzing information. Its purpose is to make judgment about the program business to improve its effectiveness. Purchase. This is the sale process and indicates money that is exchanged for the specific goods and services. Next phase is delivery. This is the fulfillment stage and defines how the product will reach the customer. This phase is very important one as well. How are you going to deliver your product or service to the people who decide that you are the situation to their problem. This is known also as the fulfillment stage of the process. Some examples of this phase include delivery system of electronic information products, postage, mail, FedEx, USPS, and also email service providers. After sales, this stage provides a person for the customer to call when they have a problem or question about the product. So in short, this is the customer service of your product.
Revenue streams is the amount earned by a business from the sale of goods or provision or services. What is revenue streams? Revenue streams is a source of revenue for a company, other organization, or regional or national economy. In business, a revenue stream is generally made up of either recurring revenue, transaction-based revenue, project revenue, and service revenue. So, recurring revenue is earning from ongoing payment for continuing services or after-sale service to customers. The recurring revenue model is the model most commonly used by businesses because it is predictable and it assures the company's source of revenue as ongoing. And second, transaction-based revenue is proceed from sales of goods that are usually one-time customer payments. And third, project revenue is a revenues earned through one-time project with existing or new customers. And lastly, service revenue. So revenues are generated by providing service to customers and well calculated based on time. For example, the number of hours of consulting services provided.
Dream questions. What type of value is my company selling to my customers? All companies sell something in the form of products or services, regarded if they are physical or virtual. But more importantly, all that products and services contain some value for their customers. They will buy them from you and use them to solve problems or satisfy some of their specific needs. It is important to make sure your company's products and services provide value. Otherwise, customers may not be interested in purchasing your company's products or services. Where's my value compared to the competitor's value? The next question you will need to answer is where your value is compared to the value that your competitors offer to your customers. Because you already know the real value of your products, services, you can start comparing your value with the competitors. If you're a competitive market, many things your products and services different from those of your competitors. What do my customers think about the value that I will give them? It is not enough to compare only with the competitor's value. You will need to test and then learn what your customers think about the value you are shipping to them. Sometimes they can have more different understandings of the value that you think. Must first collect the knowledge and make decisions for your revenue model. How will you charge your value? Next, you will need to decide the heart of your revenue model or how you will charge for the value you will ship to your customers. To answer this question, you must choose the right revenue stream for your small business. How much will you charge for your value? When you already know how much revenue you will need to generate to cover your small business cost, how much will you want to earn? How much your competitors charge for their products and services, and how many products and services you will sell, and what type of revenue stream you will use. You can easily calculate what you need to charge if you want to achieve your goals about covering costs and generating profit. If your value is not better than your competitor's value, or if you don't have a lot of goodwill from your customers, then you can charge less than your competitors.
I am Justner Rivera. For now, I will be talking about the cost structure. It is said that cost structure is the final but not the least part of a business model. Why? Because it begins by collecting the most significant cost involved with the entire operation. This is the final stage since we need all of the previous components established before we can estimate the cost of each one. This is due to the fact that generating a revenue stream, building a value proposition, and maintaining a customer relationship all incurs cost, just as key resources, activities, and partners do have.
Cost structure questions is when doing a thorough analysis of your business model. It is imperative to ask the following questions when filling the cost structure building block of the business model canvas. With these questions, it helps us determine the profitability of our operations and how to set prices. So here are the questions. The first question is, what are the most important costs inherent in our business model? So in answering this, we have to identify the most important costs needed in order to run effectively, in which a business must accrue some costs. So its example is business expenses. So when you know all of a company's expenses, you can create a more accurate budget and look to reduce some costs. Here are some examples of business expenses. By answering this question, we should know where will we use the money if it is in the proper hand, like in the proper use, um, because it should be identified, especially that it costs a lot of money, so it may be physical, intellectual, or human, such as buildings, vehicles, machinery, equipment, and etc. Which key activities are most expensive? So in key activities, it also identifies what costs a lot of money in a business. For example, the business development in terms with the market research and sales. Is your business more cost driven or value driven? So this is to identify what certain primary type of cost structure is your business. In cost driven business, it means specialize in low cost products and services. For example, retail stores that focus on selling low cost items and service providers that charge fees that similar services. Is your business more value driven? So in value driven business, this is the satisfaction that you want to give to your customers, the best value for their money, but they may not have the cheapest goods or services. So for example, a high-end retailer selling luxury goods or a highly trained service provider. Sample characteristics: fixed costs or variable costs. This is identifying what's the characteristic of your business related to cost structure. If it is fixed costs, these are the business costs that do not change no matter how many products or services the company sells. Fixed costs might include rent, utilities, property taxes, and salaries. If it is variable costs, these are the change depending on how many products or services a business sells. As a business grows, offers new products, or increases sales of any product. So this includes the direct labor costs, especially hourly wages, bonuses and commissions, travel expenses, and etc.
Lean startup. First, what is lean up startup? A lean startup is a method used to found a new company or introduce a new product on behalf of an existing company. The lean startup methods advocate developing products that customers have already demonstrated they desire, so that a market will already exist as soon as the product is launched, as opposed to developing a product and then hoping that demand will engage. 5 Lean Startup Principle. First, they seek to create new product or services under conditions of extreme uncertainty. Second, it is an institution that must be managed in a new way that promotes growth through innovation. Third, how to build a sustainable businesses. Fourth, must follow this process or feedback loop. Create products and services, measure how the market reacts to them, and learn from the reaction to determine whether to pivot or to preserve with an outcome the market accept. Fifth, entrepreneurial outcome and innovation initiative needs to be measured through innovative accounting.
Good day. I am Joe Marvin Sinsodario, and I am going to report the growth wheel. So, what is a growth wheel? A growth wheel is a visual toolbox for decision making and action planning for startup and growth companies. It helps entrepreneurs build their businesses through a simple action oriented process that stays true to the way most entrepreneurs think and work. For the business advisor, the absolute flexibility of the toolbox means that it can be fully adapted to existing advisory tools and client needs, and it can even be used by clients themselves, thereby saving time for the advisor. So, this is the growth wheel, which is composed of customer relations, operations, organization, and business concept. The next part is the growth wheel framework. The growth wheel framework is a simple checklist which helps small business advisors and their clients have conversations about growing a business. The visual tool helps to quickly identify the most important focus areas and define decisions and actions the business should be working on. Advisors just have to add their own expertise. For business advisors, growth will become a language which supports a better dialogue with clients, help avoid blind spots, and help advisors advise with confidence. Growth Wheel breaks down the four challenges into 20 focus areas. This gives a 360-degree view on business decisions and maps out what areas your client needs to focus on. So the first is the do as 360 screening of client needs. Next is find tools to support decision making. And last is make a 30, 60, 90 days action plan.
Franchises as business models. So first, what is franchises? Franchises is a business model developed by others or franchisors that have been proven to work in multiple contexts and that are sold to entrepreneurs or franchises who will implement the business model in context that the franchisors believe will result in a successful enterprises. So basically, franchises is a marketing concept which can be adopted by an organization as a strategy for business expansion. Franchises apply various business models. Some are turnkey franchises like McDonald's, where the entire business structure is set up from the design of the store to the supply system, and the franchisor set up virtually everything for the new franchisee. Here are some here are some other examples of turnkey franchises. We have Jollibee, Shell, and 7-Eleven. Other franchise models, like that defining Tap and Play Canada, a business that provides debit and credit card machines and point of sale equipment, advertise relatively low fees charged to franchises and quick setups as little as 2 weeks.